Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. Zooming in on some of the behavioral traits and kind of after effect or aftermath of being involved with a covert narcissist. Again, I receive a lot of questions on this topic in terms of how to bounce back, how to recover from covert narcissistic abuse. So I want to zoom in real quick on some of the traits, behavior mechanisms, and how they really play out, later in your life, and how they, can affect you as as an intimate person or living close with them, so that you can realize, in essence, what the dynamics of this personality are, and then how they impact people, because it can be very, very difficult to manage. The covert narcissist is a personality disorder that is typified by a number of different things. One, they have a mask or a way that they present themselves, and then B, they have really a different person inside. So the mask, the person who you think that they are, is generally very quiet, very reserved, very kind of aloof, very sort of hanging out in the background sort of personality. They have a very soft-spoken demeanor, meaning they don't share a lot of opinions. They don't express a lot of viewpoints, although they might read quite a bit. They might be extremely cerebral or be quite intelligent, and also, hold, very responsible and accountable jobs. So they do have a lot of skills and capability. But their skills and capability is something that they really kind of keep to themselves in a very selfish manner. In other words, they're not going to be real mentor types, real sort of let me take you under my wing type of people. They really kind of keep their successes to themselves. They tend to be, very much hanging in the shadows, not wanting a lot of attention, hence the term covert. However, the main dangerous thing is that this person who you feel that they are, who you think that they are, who they're portraying themselves to be, is oftentimes very contrary to the personality or the behaviors or attitudes, judgments, and true opinions that are sort of buried within that person's quiet demeanor. So for all that they're not expressing, there's generally a lot of opinion making going on, a lot of judgment, and a lot of criticism that tends to be going on in the personality underneath. So they're not real comfortable expressing their emotions, their feelings. Sometimes when they're out, and drinking or something, they might be, kind of going along with a crowd, but they have sort of a social ineptitude that makes them seem kind of like a little clumsy or a little bit awkward around people, not real kind of smooth in terms of navigating a room like a social butterfly. They can tend to talk well with people, but in a very sort of limited manner. Not real big discourse people, and so really what's damaging is when essentially you find out that they hold all these various severe judgments and condemnations underneath the surface. So they might be kind of, outwardly approving of you or proud of you, yet, they'll make comments about you to other people which belay that, which violate that sort of trust. So they engage in a lot of splitting, talking about people perhaps behind their back, or, the relationship you thought with them you thought was solid and you thought was there and intact. Underneath the surface of it all, it's really not there. They're part of sort of pulling one over on you in a very, very subtle, almost nondescript way. They're so very aloof that you don't realize any damage is being taken place. But there's a harboring that they sort of have underneath, which belays that sort of easygoing exterior where you kind of think that they're, neither here nor there. So, and this attitude just tends to kind of rub off on people in a very nonverbal way. So if you feel that there's sort of a judgment going on, or like you're not fully accepted by this person, but you can't quite put your finger on it, it's because chances are underneath there's a lot of judgment, a lot of condemnation going on. They can be very, very extreme, very severe in terms of how they're feeling. And then what happens is that then, you know, it gives them this superiority that they have within. It gives them the ability to kind of feel like that they can just kind of disrespect people who they should be communicating with. And so by speaking about them behind their back, or holding these very conflicting sort of opinions about people while treating them, you know, totally differently, that cognitive dissonance, they tend to, you know, be very hurtful of people, and really sort of dissolve a lot of relationships through a very toxic means, through this sort of attitude. So, you know, it might just come up in a casual conversation where you're like, wow, I can't believe he just said that. And I've known them for 20, 30 years or my entire life. And look how they just referred to that family member, or look how, you know, at the comment that they just dished up is so out of character. It's because underneath it all, they have a very different character underneath, which they're almost trying to repress. So I think that's a lot of it is that it's a very repressed sort of, you know, person that feels very superior, very much above everybody, and really kind of looks down on others for whatever reason. A lot of times it's very unfounded. So be very careful, because these people can be very violating and, you know, create a lot of betrayal and distrust, and really, you know, wreak a lot of havoc in relationships through affairs, or, you know, cooking the books, as they say. You know, if you're supposed to be on a retirement account, not having those things set up properly. So you have to be very careful and take action steps to protect yourself. And please, you know, utilize the tools that I just discussed here on the channel to make sure that you kind of individuate and, you know, take steps to be on your own and independent from this sort of relationship. I think it'll be a good idea for you and give you some energy and perspective when you use all those tools coming together. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.